we're about to go into the draft. So maybe we'll find out ourselves here. Are we going to see the Superman ban instantly, or we are indeed?
Yep,
How? Yeah, let's find out how Kanser are going to answer that ban, and it's going to be the Teamy ban. Yep, it didn't take long. We got 2 games in before Teamy was suddenly ban worthy. Are we going to see the Zenio or the Killgraph picked up now by the blue side? Zephyr's still being prioritized here. This is, I mean, we've seen just how effective he can be in the jungle, and we talked about just how solid a pick he is, but the Malok and the Zenio are going to be answered there from Kanser. So Hooligans with the Zephyr's pick, but those are 2 strong picks answered in return. What do we think about those 2 picks?
I want to express how excited I'm actually to see this right now, because one of my favorite combos of the 2 champions I love to play is Malik and Zenio. And it's not much. You do see not many people want to pair them together, but when they do and they synergize well, you are going to have a huge mess on your hands, because Zenio will always be there at the start of fights, of course, and if Malik can make his way down and pull his ult on there as well, you're going to have a lot of issues coming through. Of course, though, we do see Hooligans backing that up with the Killgroth we were just talking about earlier. He's coming back out onto the field, and Tulin, which is a pretty solid pick right now.
Yeah, Tulin obviously used to great effect in the early stages of this tournament. We've seen just how dramatic of an effect he can have on team fights when he does get fed. Mina is going to be a good, solid answer, as well as L'Oreal coming out for Kanser here. Mina, her main priority is going to be defense, is going to be picking people away from the carries. With people like Mina, Zenio, and Malok in the way, L'Oreal is going to be feeling pretty confident right about now. It's going to be purely down to the Lubu, the Zephys, the Tulin to try and find their way to the back line. But it's going to be a hard going with that lineup in front of you. The Lumber and the Lubu are going to be picked up by Hooligans just to try and break a hole in that wall that is the Zenio, is the Malok, is the Mina, and then we do see the Cricknack being picked up there for the Kanser gaming as well. What do we think of these lineups going forwards? These are looking like some scary, solid lineups right now.
So already looking at Kanser's lineup, it's very obvious that it's tailored towards L'Oreal. They're looking for this. Mina, one of the perfect plays that we might possibly see here is Mina pulling in a group of them. Zenio coming in to support that. Malik might be nearby and he's going to jump on there. And then, of course, Zenio's just, L'Oreal, my bad, is going to come on there. She's going to ultimate. And then Cricknack is just going to be there picking off whoever they need to be, and we're looking at Hooligan's team as well, which is also very good. Killgroth, Tulin, Lubu, Lumber. Lumber is also a solid pick as well. A support I rarely see in NA as well, actually. And of course, we talked about how Zephyrs can make plays happen. And Zephyrs does have that early side, though. So if we're looking how tanky they are, and although if they can make an aggressive play at the beginning on Cricknack, they might be able to hinder him just a bit to do some good.
Yeah, setting Cricknack back early will definitely do a lot of work, but whether that can be brought into fruition or not, we will have to find out. I do think that combination, the Zenio Malok combination, if these guys have the synergy needed, if Hooligans have that synergy, I'm getting confused now because the teams are swap sides. My apologies. If Kanser do have that synergy, we are going to, these team fights are going to be very dramatic, and they are going to be shutting people down early if they can get there.
All right, and it looks like we are going to come up with our usual 30-minute ban to get everybody settled and ready. And, of course, with prediction time, I'm going to go with the Zephyrs team being aggressive and the Malik team actually... Well, they're going to have to play defensive, because if they try to... Even if they have Cricknack and they try to go into the jungle, that might hurt them more than save them, especially with what abilities they have unlocked at level 1.
Yeah, I think, obviously, this pause just allows all of the members of each team to find their way into the games and make sure that everyone is on the same page. Just a quick 30-second pause, and we are back in the action. Hooligans in these early stages are going to be looking to secure their objectives. They might look for the invade, like I said, setting back that Cricknack in the early stages, managing to secure or steal away a blue buff, a sage buff, might be the best way to secure that early advantage, especially with a Lubu, a Zephys, 2 people that have quite significant damage in the early stages, accompanied by a potential shield coming out from Lumber. is going to allow for his aggression. And we do see that aggressive play that we just talked about as they invade onto the enemy side. And that is going to be good aggression coming out. Lubu with the knock-up is going to do great work. But now the rest of the team are closing in, and they are severely outnumbered as Tulen slowly makes his way up. But they are going to be forced back out of that... they're going to be forced out their own jungle even as we see the red team back away as quickly as they can. That's 5 versus 3, and they are not looking too healthy. They are slowly being closed down. Zeph is going to have to run away, and they are going to make their way under tower as Maki with the return. So it started off with Hooligans charging in, but then with Kanser charging in, but then suddenly we see Hooligans answering back.
On that team fight, they did pretty well. The one thing they did miss, though, is they actually could have had the Zephyrs, but they were busy chasing the Tulen. Tulen is great, because even at the beginning, if he gets his 2 first, he's going to be able to dash away with 3 times. So trying to catch him at the early game, you have to be lucky, and hopefully you can stun him up.
Yeah, we do see the red side here just kind of level themselves out across thing. After the early drama, they are going to be putting themselves back as much as possible. We do see a bit of a roam lumber coming out here, not an uncommon sight, providing a little bit extra coverage throughout the lanes, does manage to pick up a tiny bit of XP before back in there. Meanwhile, if we look towards that top side, we do see Spirit Sentinel being taken by Maki, and Rod going to be playing defensive here, trying to make sure Artifacts doesn't steal that away on that kill graph. He'll deal a little bit of damage, but he's not going to be able to get anywhere near that Spirit Sentinel. Meanwhile, we do see in the mid lane, Tulen is going to be forced to dash away as he takes a significant amount of damage from the L'Oreal and that crit knack. We see waiting in the wings there, that Lumber waiting to try and dive onto the enemy side with Zephys also here to clear the wave. He's going to dive through onto L'Oreal, but there's no immediate follow-up there from the Zephys, who was busy clearing the wave under tower, and they're just going to walk away from this team fight. Meanwhile, in the bot lane, we do see Redu and Sophie taking that bird, but is it going to be worth your life? That's the question, as Sophie is trying to flee as best as possible. Is going to manage to get away. I think is going to manage to get away, especially with Maki closing in. Maki is going to dive in, but First Blood is going to go over as Sophie does go down. And meanwhile, in the top lane there, we saw a little bit of drama, but coming back to the bot lane, Maki is going to manage to do significant damage. L'Oreal now coming in. Maki and L'Oreal going to be doing work here as they start clearing it up. Everyone's sitting very low now for the red side. The red side is going to be taking significant damage. Double kill going over to L'Oreal. Can they now translate this into an objective and turn their attention to Abyssal? It looks like they will. Meanwhile, in the top lane, Rod and Artifacts going to be battling it out still. Obviously, Rod doesn't have to wait on any mana regen on that Malok, whereas Artifacts does. But that is going to be a Abyssal Dragon going over to the blue side. What do we feel? How do we feel about this game so far, JB? You know, this early aggression coming out, it's not working for the red side.
It's not as hefty as it was like the other couple games that we've seen. However, they took the risk and went under bottom turret to get the Mina and secure that first blood. However, then you got 3 of them low, and that allowed L'Oreal time to come from the mid lane, go down, and get a nice cleanup with it. So, seeing how this is about to go right now, red team is the one keeping the pressure, and blue, of course, is keeping their defense. But as the game goes on, L'Oreal might tip the scales. As you can see, they also did secure their objective on Dragon as well. First Dragon is very important.
Yeah, First Dragon does set the tone for the game going forwards, and it also gives you that early gold lead. Now, in those early stages, items are going to be playing a huge role in these team fights. You know, having that little bit of extra defense or that little bit of aggressiveness, that little extra damage can be the difference in these team fights between it being an ace or being, you know, a massive turnaround. In the top lane, we do see Spirit Sentinel being challenged. Artifacts not in a position to actually steal it, but will keep them a little bit paranoid and worrying about what's going on. But meanwhile, in that bot side, we do see Redu and Sophie being pressured once again. Is going to be knocked up by the Lumber. Huge damage as they dive under turret. Lumber going low, but is going to get himself out of dodge. Goes back in, but Redu is still alive. Zenial is going to be doing work, and they are going to start forcing the rest of the red team back as we see Maki and Sia going in onto the enemy team. Tulen is the only one looking particularly healthy now for the red side as he dives back in, trying to get some damage down onto L'Oreal. L'Oreal might have stuck around a little bit longer than she needs to, is going to start moving away. Rod and Artifacts in the top side are going tit for tat, making sure that they each know that the other one exists. Rod taking the brunt of that damage against Artifacts as Artifacts starts getting himself into that good place as the kill graph. Thunderbird does come out, isn't going to be enough to manage to secure that kill onto L'Oreal, but it is going to make her think about what she's doing and forces the back. Sophie is now having forced to defend mid on that Mina, and that is going to be the go sign for Lumber to start rowing towards that bot side as Lumber and Zenny will bat it out as well. Again, going back to that top lane, Artifacts and Rod just going tit for tat. How do we feel about these engagements so far? It seems like both teams are very aware of each other and a bit apprehensive about getting into these fights in these early stages.
I am seeing a very similar pattern, actually, between both teams. If you notice, there is always three of them. They usually try to stick together, which is nice. But as they engage each other, they always get low. And one team is always there. And like we're about to see it happen right now, even. Yeah,
we are indeed. Angelic Splinter does come in as the blue side do a great amount of damage. Everyone is standing in that smite, but it isn't going to matter as Sophie is trying to grab whoever she can and before she dies, but it isn't going to matter as Radu goes down alongside her. Artifacts doing great work there, but Lubu is going to be the one picking up the kill. Rod, meanwhile, in that top side, pressuring that top tower. Won't be able to take it just enough. Luby does pick up the double kill onto to Zenial in that fight there, and that is going to be the go sign for the red team to turn their attention towards Abyssal Dragon as well as they go for their second dragon of the game. Great stuff coming out there from them. If they keep pressuring the way they are and manage to secure these objectives, I can see this easily snowballing for the red side here.
And that's exactly what it's going to become, because as we're talking about, another thing to add is the overcommitment. So it's good, when you're going into a team fight, you don't want to have a split team. But sometimes, like in the case of that middle fight that just happened earlier, they did commit to it, didn't realize that they were getting flanked from both sides. They were collapsed on, and soon Kanser just found themselves pushed back way further than they wanted to. And the entire team, again, getting really low. And then Zenial, for example, when he was still low, he still goes in. So instead of trying to get out, he tries to commit to it. And of course, in that situation, he wasn't going to make it out. So of course, get as much damage as you can. But in some cases, there were times where they could have escaped with low health, and they still try to commit. Yeah, and we do see a fight breaking out again. These guys don't like to keep the action dismissed for long, as Angelic Splinter used early this time before a lot of damage can come out, so it's not being used to its greatest effect. Malok dives in as well. That is a very healthy team, still going strong as L'Oreal picks up the kill onto the Lumber, but that is going to be a return kill there coming out from Artifacts onto Rod. Meanwhile, that is a double kill going to be going over to L'Oreal. I was about to say that is going to be a kill going over to Tulin, but that actually managed to turn it around. And L'Oreal picking up the triple, in fact, on with that Tulin kill. Amazing work. I got it wrong. It's a quad kill. And in comes Lubu to ruin the day and take away the dreams of a mega kill. If they can turn this around here, this will be a mega kill live on the Valiant Community Tournament. Are they tempted to go for it with the tiniest sliver of health? They're not going to be greedy. They're not going to look for that glory moment. They are going to play it safe and smart, as you see how pressuring that bot side now. So in that situation, we actually... So yeah, the Zenial was used much earlier than what we would usually see. But it was backed up by a really good Malak ult, which came in the middle of the three guys who were trying to come down on them. And from there, they were just able to clean them up one after the other. And even with that, if you miss your Angelic Splendor, it's not that bad, but just make up for it. And he did have a shield, so that also came into play. And Mina doing a good job. And then, of course, L'Oreal coming in to clean things up.
Yeah, L'Oreal getting fed is one of the scariest things you can experience in this game. I've seen L'Oreal's 1 versus 3, even post-nerf, when they've got to that good place. And they, when people ignore her ultimate, when they ignore that smite, we do see this fight breaking out as more aggression through the jungle comes up, and the teams are split here as Hooligans go fleeing for their life. Ron is going to pick up a kill in the on the top lane there. Inverness is going to go down as well. And that is going to be Sophie going down to the Zephyrs in the back line at the same time. Double kill going over to the Malok. Malok is going to be running to that mid lane to try and defend against Artifex's pressure. Artifex is going to be still relatively healthy. He might be looking for another kill here, potentially knowing that he has Zephyrs to back him up, but is just going to defend that mid lane instead. That middle turret is looking fairly low there for Kanser Gaming. They are going to be worried about Artifacts and the pressure this Kilgroth can apply. The reason we've seen Kilgroth banned so much is just because in the late game, he shreds people, he shreds players, he shreds jungle, but he also shreds towers. And if you leave a Kilgroth alone in a lane for 5 minutes, he will take as many towers as you can give him. The team's both standing off a little bit now, JB. what are your thoughts at this point in time? Obviously, objectives going slightly in favor initially to Kanser Gaming, but Hooligans managing to pull it back even now.
Yeah, and they're keeping that constant fight. The thing that's happening though is Krignac is the one having trouble. Out of everyone on the team, Laurier's trying to keep things stable. Of course, the tanks are trying to keep things going. Krignac is actually getting pushed back more than he would like to, and through all of that, Tulin is putting pressure where they want to, and Lumber is doing what Lumber does best. And of course, we did talk about Zephy's just being a strong pick in general, and it's just coming out. And for a simple reason of his kit is easy to use, but he can also get tanky at the same time with the damage that he dishes out. And Kilgroth is honestly quite a menace. At this point in time, the way he has been left and the kills that he was able to rack up as well is going to cause a little bit of problems.
Yeah, he causes a lot of problems in the late game, and here is Exhibit 1, the shutdown going over by Makai onto Lubu. The rest of the team are engaging as well, as Malok is about to join the fray, but it might be a little bit too late as we see Kilgroth picking up a kill onto the Mina, and Rod is going to go in, but his life is depleting quickly there, tries to get the shield up, but it isn't going to be enough, and a triple kill will go over to Tulin there, and that is going to be an easy quad kill for him. Artifacts roaming off and looking for it while his teammates pressure and push down another blue tower. This is steadily and slowly going in favor of the red side here.
And that's exactly what you want, though. Kilgroth, unlike other people, like even just bringing up Yorn split push, that is a thing. But when you're looking at Kilgroth here, he is set as he should be. When he's done with the team fight, he should go push a lane, go get an objective. In this case, they're going to secure Darkslayer. And just keep that pressure going, because they will have one or two things. They're either going to stop him or they're going to go for the 4 that's still going. And even then, Kilgroth can just slug his way through things.
Yeah, definitely. We've seen so much action back and forth, but it's just been these small little victories one by one and translating them into objectives that are allowing Artifacts and Co to really start getting this serious damage. You can see just how quickly he takes down those towers. Rod was just left there standing trying to clear a wave while his tower disappeared. This is going to be hard for them to pull back potentially if we do let Artifacts get any further down the lane, like any further down this, now that he has, Slayer buff as well. Like what do we think, what can be done here by Rod and Mackie Sear? What can they do to pull themselves back into this game as we see another team fight break out here? Huge Angelic Splendor there, but Rod is very low and he's going to have to back off. Tulin does manage to pick up a kill onto Sophie. Mia going down there. That does mean that the red side are free to pressure in. Firebird is going to be thrown out. Doesn't do the execute damage that you want it to, but it is going to be enough to force L'Oreal to back and heal up. Mackie now back to protect that mid tower, but with a wave, I don't know what they can do against IFX. Look how quickly that tower is melting, and look how quickly Rod's health is melting as he goes down as well. The rest of the team are breaking in as they go, and they focus down on that tower. Oh my God. That was huge play there from Hooligans. Hooligans doing some serious work there, and GG. Well played.
It's a good game indeed. And of course, the thing that we have to look into that comp was it was mostly relying on L'Oreal. The tanks were trying to cover into that, and Krignac was supposed to be the backup. So already starting with the combo that they had was a little bit difficult to pull off, where you, of course, on the other team, you have Tulin, Kilgroth, Lubu, Zephy's. There's a lot of damage conditions there that they were able to just shred through. And if you look at their items, you got Spear of Long coming through on the Zephy's and Lubu, and even Fenrir's going over on the Kilgroth. So adding to all of that, they can pretty much shred tanks quite easily.
Yeah, I mean, if you look over at the Kanser Gaming side, even if you take the Lumber, for example, had to go with that early medallion. Couldn't go into Asterians, couldn't go for team supporting items, had to build that medallion early just because of the sheer damage coming out from the L'Oreal. Did mean that, in the late game, it meant that they had to, that he had that defense, and it really stopped that L'Oreal developing into anything bigger.